very interesting discussion because the way we think we are projecting is not the way other people are interpreting our projection. And we can't understand why all of a sudden somebody has an axe to grind with us for no reason at all, we think, but we don't know.
Well, you know, I think that when I was thinking of somebody, you and I both know a lot of speakers who we've watched talk, and I'm thinking of a few of them who have told me what great speakers they are. And I'm like, I would never say that to begin with. First of all, oh, what a great speaker I am. But I've had so many people tell me that. So I'll go and I'll listen to them speak, and I'm waiting for this greatness. And sometimes it's not there. And I'm thinking, well, are they just saying that? Do they really think that they're a great speaker? And it's just my perception that they're not? Or what do you think? You know what I mean? How do you get that sense of self-confidence that you're such a great speaker if I'm thinking,
that's pretty wonderful, because if those people think they are so great, chances are they will deliver a great presentation. Now, then, of course, we have to go back to your selective perception. What is greatness?
Yes.
What is a great speaker? Is it somebody who gets the audience to keep laughing? Is it somebody who gets the audience so entrenched in what you're saying that they just can't turn away? Or, bottom line, is it somebody that can get you to dip into your pocket and take out money and purchase whatever it is you're selling? And we're all always selling something. That's really the question.
You know, I was thinking about a speaker who I saw, and I liked her. She was speaking, she's very famous. I won't say her name, but she wrote a book about introversion, and top book out there. And I watched her speak, and I thought, well, she was really good. I really got a lot out of that talk. And, you know, and introverts aren't super dynamic speakers usually, you know, and she wasn't. She was very much to the point and kind of sedate, if anything. But everything she said was really impactful to me, and I thought it was great. And I remember talking to somebody later who had seen her speak, and he was like, yeah, that's not my kind of speaker. He didn't, you know, and I'm thinking, it's interesting who connects with whom, and, you know, where these certain speakers belong, because there's a lot of speakers who fit that, like, pastor in church dynamic, running across the stage and you should, you know, kind of person, you know what I mean? The Zig Ziglars of the world. And then there's people like her who have a great message, but she's not super dynamic in how she delivers it. But she's still connected with me. So how do you know if your message is going to connect?
That is a great question. I don't know if you do. And this is, I don't know if you know this in advance. You get out on a stage, and hey, you know, when I was doing all daily talk shows, you get out on the stage, you have theoretically prepared what you anticipate will be the topic of the day. And then all of a sudden, because it's live television, all of a sudden, somebody says something about somebody else, and we go off on a tangent. The show host, if I'm just the guest, the show host takes the tangent, takes the audience on this tangent, and I'm the guest who was supposed to provide the support as the therapist for the day. And I'm saying, oh, what am I going to do now? I mean, this is what's going on in my mind. What am I going to do now? How am I going to handle this? And what does this person need most from me? And how to do that in a way that is so edu-trainable that makes everybody out there walk away with skills that they can apply to their own daily lives. That has been what I deemed as my MO, what I was doing there, the why that I had to answer. What am I doing here except to support the people who came here specifically for that kind of support? So I am edu-training the person, I am edu-training the audience, and I'm particularly entertaining everybody all at once while I get my content points across. That had been prepared in advance always, but I'm doing 4 or 5 things all at once. And when you can do that effectively, then you've got the winning hand. I must have done it effectively because I was offered, I mean, Fox, 20th Century Fox offered me a television show of my own. I must have done this effectively, but you know, when I started out, I had no idea that I was even going to be called upon to do all these different things at once.
You know, it's hard. I mean, you're talking in a show setting and in a stage setting and a different setting. Everything's different. When you're giving a performance on a television interview, you don't have an interaction with an audience. You're just, you know, you're stuck, right. You know. But if you're in front of an audience,
well,
that's a whole nother thing. And whether you're going to ask questions and interact, you know, that's a whole dynamic that I find interesting, because once you bring in the audience, it could go anywhere.
Well, it's a controlled audience. I mean, they're all sitting in their seats. They're not going. However, at times, I want them to have this voluminous reaction to something. And so look at all the people that we have to touch when we are in front of that audience. I have to touch the audience. I have to touch the person who I'm talking to. And the director, oh, how many directors have screamed at me, why aren't you staying in the light? Because I get up and I run over on the other side of the stage where somebody's crying hysterically, and I want to give them some kind of support system. And I have the director in my ear, and I have the host over there, and I have, sometimes I have been given not only the lavalier mic, but a mic to hold in my hands. And it's not unusual for me, and it hadn't been unusual for me when I was doing all the daytime talk shows, for me to run into the audience and ask an audience member about this. Totally spontaneous, totally without forethought, but I thought in my gut that this was the proper way to get this point across. So I am doing, you have no idea. I was once in a dentist's office, and she said, oh, you're on television. Oh my goodness, Dr. Gilda, I love watching you. You know, I could do that too. I said, honey, go right ahead and do it. It looks so easy. And that's a credit to us who are just sitting there and making it look easy. But it is not easy when you take apart all these pieces and you realize the dynamism that has to be communicated immediately. And I mean immediately, because 1 second of downtime and you've lost them.